Hi students, how's it going today? Welcome. This is Chemistry Chapter 7-1 Part 2 Lecture. We are going to start off under F, the stock system of nomenclature. Number 1, if more than one cation is possible, distinguish the ions by using a Roman numeral to indicate the ion's charge. The numeral is enclosed in parentheses and placed immediately after the metal name. An example would be Fe plus 2. You would enclose that and call it iron Roman numeral 2 in parentheses, and then you would have Fe plus 3, which would be iron parentheses Roman numeral 3 in parentheses. Number 2, metals with only one cation form do not include a Roman numeral with them. For instance, sodium is just sodium, barium is just barium, and aluminum is just aluminum. Example, name. We would have to use, for this one, CuCl2 is actually called copper 2 chloride. Now just remember, when you get into the transition metals, that's where you're going to usually find multiple oxidation numbers, and the best way to do it is kind of like uncrisscross. Take that 2 that was in Cl back up to the top of the copper and make it plus 2, and that will tell you which kind of copper that you're going to be using. Sample problem 7-3, give the formula and the name for Cr plus 3 and F. Well, the chemical formula is going to be CrF3, and the name is going to be called chromium 3, and that 3 happens to be Roman numeral in parentheses, and the name is fluoride. Then we're going to practice some in class when we get there. Okay, under G, compounds containing polyatomic ions, table 7-2, page 210. Number 1, only ammonium, AMMONIUM ion is positive charged. The rest are negatively charged, and most are what we call oxyanions, spelled OXYANIONS. These are polyatomic ions that contain oxygen. Number 2, an ion with the most common oxygen end in ATE. An ion with one less oxygen ends in ITE. Example is nitrogen and oxygen. A, it is nitrate. That's NO3 minus 1. That's the most common one because it has the ATE ending. When we take one oxygen away from it, it becomes nitrite, Nitrite. Number 5, ions with one less oxygen than ITE use the prefix hypo, HYPO, which means too little. So we could actually have NO, which would be hyponitrite. Number 6, ions with more than the ATE oxygens use the prefix per, PER, which means too much. So we could have NO4, which would be per nitrate. Okay, now we're going to give you some examples in, I think it's number 7. We're going to take some chlorine and we're going to take some oxygen. Under A, ClO, ClO2, ClO3, ClO4. The ClO3 is the most common, so this is called chlorate. Under D, when we add one more oxygen to it, it is called perchlorate. And under B, when we take one oxygen away from the most common, it is called chlorite. And then finally, when we take one more oxygen away from the ite ending, it becomes hypochlorite. Number 8, compounds with polyatomic ions are named in the same manner as binary ionic compounds. Remember, if more than one polyatomic ion is present in a compound, the formula for the entire ion is surrounded by parentheses. Example, we have silver nitrate, we then have silver nitrite, and then after that we would have ammonia sulfate. But again, notice how the SO4 is surrounded by parentheses and the 3 is outside of it. We will then do sample problem 7-3 where we'll write the formula for tin 4 sulfate. This concludes the lecture for Chemistry, Chapter 7-1, Part 2.